just a little outline of what we're going to cover. We're going to have a look at some couple of different ways of searching the SCOPUS interface. We're going to use using search fields and something that they call advanced searching as well. And then have a look at how you use the interface to combine your keyword searching terms together and do things like sort of common things that we do on literature searching databases, such as truncation, phrase searching, and so on. And then we'll make sure we can include things like accessing, how you go about accessing the full text, saving your search strategy, and then things like exporting your results and setting up alerts. So hopefully that's okay for everybody. Okay, so what we're here for mainly then today is to take a look at how to get onto Scopus and how to have a go at searching the interface effectively. So you can pick up the Scopus database from your online library homepage in StudyNet. So I'm just going to go there now, just to remind you where you can get access to Scopus. And we've got a big list of A to Z of everything we can use to search with within our library collections. And Scopus will be there on this big long A to Z list, as well as in your subject pages, which we call subject toolkit pages. And you can pick up a health or a business subject toolkit page and you will have premium resources listed on those pages, and Scopus will appear on those subject toolkit pages as well as in this big A to Z list. So here's the basic, the interface that you get presented with initially. And we're going to use some sort of generic examples of subjects to search just to make sure that we have everybody's sort of interest, and then obviously you just have to take the principles away and apply it to your own subject areas. So the thing I'm interested in today is climate pollutants. Okay, so we're just going to straightforward do a search on some keywords for our topic. We're using article, title, abstract and keywords as the main place in those records in the database in Scopus that we're going to look for those keywords coming up. And you can change those depending on the sort of number of results you get back and how focused you want to be. But in general, the abstract and the keywords provided and the article title is a good starting point. So we're literally going to ask it to search. And what that's done is it's found 21,501 documents, and it will list them out here. We've got the title, we've got the authors, we've got the journal that it's come from, the year it's published, and so forth. Okay. So we want to be a bit more focused than this, and obviously it's assuming here the word "and" between it. You want the word climate and you want the word pollutant. So if you go back to the search interface each time, you will see that what you're doing is then listing in the search history below. So this is something we can use to our advantage further down the line. And what I want to do first is sort of be a bit more focused. I don't want just the first two words to come up. I want the thing, climate pollutants. And so in this database, with a lot of other search databases, we can use the double quote marks to look for a phrase. You can check in Scopus in the search tips, if I show you here, before I go and do that second search, and searching for a document, this will be contextualized help. And so it's then asking you, what do you want to do? Do you want to find exact or approximate phrases or words? And it's talking about using the quotes like we're about to do. But in this case, it's something they call a loose phrase. So the words appear together in the title, abstract or keywords, whereas it then goes on to talk about exact phrases. In this case, it uses the braces or the curly brackets to be exact about the phrase that you're searching and nothing else. A lot of databases don't have those two options, but Scopus does, and it might be worth playing around with that to see how that affects your search results. So first of all, we're going to have a go at this sort of loose phrase and search. Okay, and back to search each time because we're building our search steps at the moment. So in this case, it's found a much more focused set of results. okay, in comparison to just the two words appearing. And then what does that do if we use the curly brackets, the braces, and repeat search again? Go back to our search results. And here you can see even narrower. Okay, so you can play with how specific you want to be about that and take advantage of using the phrases as a search. Now, what you would normally do in this search interface is take the opportunity of building up your search history with alternative keywords for this thing that you're interested in, this first concept that you're searching. So because I've sort of done a little bit of reading around this subject, I know that there's a common term as well that people use when talking about climate pollutants, and it's called short-lived climate pollutants. Okay, so I know that this is another phrase for the same thing, so a synonym. So I'm going to put that in now. I'm also interested in this as part of the same concept of my search. And it's definitely got to be a phrase in this case. So we'll go back and we'll see how that looks in the search history. So we've got another 172 that might have all been picked up with this particular exact phrase because it's here, okay? But perhaps we pick up a few more that are relevant by using this one out of the 200, but we may not have found those. So it's important to think of your alternative keywords for your concept before you move on. And there's also an acronym in a lot of these things. There are technical terms and acronyms, and this is recognised as SLCP when you read around this subject. So we'll do a final search for another keyword. Okay, so what we've done so far then is we've made use of the phrase searching and we've put in some alternative keywords. So now I would like to select the most appropriate keywords and combine them together to form one building block of my search, where I've sort of expanded and thought about all the alternative keywords. And now I'm going to suggest, right, I'm going to go for this in the middle, climate pollutants. And then I'm going to go for short-lived climate pollutants as well. And so let's go for that one, because that's so that they probably all contain each other. I'll probably tick that one. Okay, so you can click all of them if you want to. You just will end up with some duplicates that will be deduplicated. So select your keywords that represent your concept, and then you use this option here, combine your queries. What are you going to do with them? So at this stage you ask yourself, now am I using and or am I using or? So if you say it to yourself, I am interested in climate pollutants or short-lived climate pollutants or the acronym SLCP. Okay, so in this case I want to combine my search terms with or, and I want to run the search again and show the results. Okay, so we found a discrete set of results. We're not dealing with the vast numbers of words just appearing. We're also not ruling out things that might be useful by being too specific with an exact search phrase. And we're also making sure we're incorporating alternative keywords. And we've got a sort of happy middle in terms of the number of search results there. Now you can sort of park this in the search history and think about, well, what else am I interested in searching? And the second component of my topic is that I'm interested in how the climate pollutants are measured. And so I'm thinking about things like spectroscopic instruments or spectroscopy, those kind of things. Okay, so that's the second part of what I'm interested in this particular example. So if I put in, okay, spectroscopic and search. This is the beginning of my second concept in the search. go back. Obviously, that is without any kind of context, has thousands of results in all sorts of different scientific disciplines. And if you think about alternative endings to those words, so spectroscopy, and in this case, the search has found another whole load of searches. It's become even more vast in the number of results we've got. You can also deal with multiple endings of words like this by using the truncation symbol. So again, looking in the search tips as we did before, you can find that spectroscopic and spectroscopy can be dealt with by using truncating the word back to its common stem and putting the truncation symbol on the end. Okay, and then we can search. So we'll go back and see what the search history looks like. And so obviously we've combined results from these two sets into a huge set here. So now we're thinking about using this big search set that we've sort of scraped together all the alternative endings that might be talked about in the literature. And we're saying, well, we're interested in climate pollutants and something to do with spectroscopy or spectroscopic measurement thereof. And so this time when we combine terms, we're combining two ideas together that we've worked on in the search history. And so we're using and. So we're saying I'm interested in anything to do with climate pollutants being mentioned and spectroscopic or spectroscopy. Okay, so we're going to show the results again. Okay, so we've got a lovely little discrete set of 12 documents there, all of which have mention in the article title, abstract or keyword, something to do with the two ideas we were interested in. So you can see how if you were to find more keywords down the line, you don't have to unpick all of this search history. You could simply collect together your keywords into something where you've oared together alternatives into the concept, and then just with your new set number 11 you could combine that instead with number 9. And so it's quite a flexible way of sort of searching around your subject, and sometimes you can just reset the search or clear the search and just start again with a clean sort of flow in your mind about which words you're going to use. Okay, so if we review the results then and have a little bit more of a look at how SCOPUS presents these results. Okay, so we can go and have a look at one of these. Okay, we click on the title and what it will show is the complete sort of record in the SCOPUS database. So we see more details, including something like the DOI. Now, if I just stop at this moment, if you notice that this pop-up window has come up, that's the Lean Library at work. So it's trying to access the article now for me from wherever University of Hertfordshire get it from. You can click this away, and in settings you can ask it not to notify you. Sometimes it might get a little bit intrusive if you're doing lots of searching, but leaving it on will allow you to access the article in a direct way. Anyway, let's go back to what we can see. So we've got laser absorption spectroscopy title, we've got authors, we've got the abstract, and then we've got author supplied, we've got indexed keywords, so things that they think that are what the article is about. It's been given keywords to sort of surface that content. And sometimes you get author supplied keywords as well. On the right hand side here, you get things called related documents or cited documents. Okay, so that's useful to see the document details, and you can sort of spring off from the document you've started with into 4 documents that have cited this particular article, or documents that are considered to be related by by keyword or subject area. Okay. So if I were to try and access this, then we would look at all our download options that are available. Either we can try and we've got the Lean Library app and it can try and access it directly for you, or you can, without that, you can still try and download the article from here. But in some cases, it says it couldn't be downloaded, and check with the publishers. Okay, so don't think that that's the dead end, because it's also possible to have a look at alternative access to these things. And you can see here full text options and options to export. So if we look at full text options, we've got a little widget that tries to find a copy elsewhere in the university collections if it can't link straight away from Scopus. Okay. And in this case, it's put us into something called Science Direct, which you might well be familiar with, at the point where we can view the PDF or download. Okay, so you will be taken to somewhere where we can access the full text of the document, if at all possible, by our sort of wider collections. Okay, let's go back. So I pointed out also this thing called the DOI. If you're not fully aware of what that is, it's a digital object identifier, and you can take this DOI and you can copy it. And this is very useful for if you don't find any way to download the full text or link through to the full text of this document, then you can still go back with this DOI and use our interlibrary loans service, where you can go from the library, online library homepage, and you can paste in this DOI to the interlibrary loan request form, and it will automatically fill in things like the title, the author, and the volume part pages, etc., etc. So that's really useful little shortcut to know about. So hopefully that gives you an idea of using the search box that you're first presented with. If I go back to search, and how the search history builds up, and how you can make use of things like phrase searching and the truncation symbols. Another way that you can build up a search then is to have a look at adding in a search field each time. So you can do that by show you putting in your first top part that you're interested in. So I'm going to totally change the subject, but I'm going to still use something interesting to myself. So I'm looking for a phrase, information seeking. Okay, but you can build it up like this. You can say, or seeking information, or information skills. Okay, so library work basically. And because it's information skill or information skilled or information skills, I'm going to use the truncation symbol there. So this is if you're confident in your building blocks for your search, you could perhaps approach it in this direction. And then if you add a search field in, then it's assuming and between these two lines, still article, title, abstract and keywords. And then perhaps here I might put engineer, because in my day job, I'm the subject librarian for engineering and physics, astronomy, maths and computer science. So engineers or engineering, or aerospace, maybe aerospace engineers. So you have to have thought about your keywords really. So you can also change, if you're adding a search field each time, you can change these things. So you could also say not, let's see, you could say not something specific there if you wanted to, or in this case, I'll just carry on with another part of the search, a third concept. So you can see that this could get quite detailed, and perhaps I could put in here higher education, or undergraduate. Undergraduate or undergraduates, undergraduate, okay. So now, once I've built up my search, I can click on search here. And basically it'll do it all at once without the sort of building blocks of the search in the search history. Okay, so I have 58 documents. I could have a look at one of these. So this one looks quite useful to me. Survey of undergraduate engineering students' information management practices. So I could have a look at the full record. And again, we're back to looking at things like, in this case, you might want to look at things like the indexed keywords or the author supplied keywords. And there might be new ones that you hadn't thought about, like I hadn't, I may want to go back and use information literacy, or I may want to go back and use information management more widely, those kind of things. So that's where you have to decide whether or not you want to build up using the search interface where you can just add and add and add a line, or whether you would like to do individual searches and make use of that search history. So if we have a look at, if we go back to the set of search results here, what we can do is show you how to select a few and export them. So, for example, we can select items on the list, or we can select all here. Let's take a few. And then we can have a look at this export function at the top here. And if you're using different types of reference management software, obviously it will format the file type to match in with what you're using. Otherwise, you can just take plain text, or you could take RIS, which is something that's a plainish text type file, but it also is compatible with things like EndNote. Okay, so in this case, I'm not joining with a reference management software, so I'm just going to use plain text in this case. And you can choose what it is that you want to export, which fields of the database. Okay, so here it's just taking these basic bits of information, and then I can export, and that will end up in my downloads folder. Okay, and I can go and have a look at that later. Okay, if we look here at more, we can also see that we can save things to a list. You can create a title, but I've already done this demonstration before, so I'm going to use the same list, and I'm going to save those to a list. Now, the list is something that's operating within my profile in Scopus, and you can, it'll ask you if you want to create your own personal profile, and you can do that here. And obviously I can't show you that because I've already done that for this database. Also, you can see alerts and etc. as well. So you can set up alerts. You can, if you go into your own profile once it's set up, you can see things like your alerts that you've set up here. Okay, and you can also, once you've created sets of search results, you can save to alerts and have them emailed to you. So that's something you could investigate if you wanted to go down the road of your own profile.